Hey guys, this week I'm going to be doing a corners of my home video, so just showing you my favourite areas within my home. Start off with my sideboard because I think it's my favourite thing or favourite piece of furniture that I own, and yeah, a lot of things that feature within this are my favourite. So this was an eBay find from my dad, and it was bought for me for Christmas. It's one that you'll have probably seen a lot of people, the similar styles they have. So I think it's 20th century, and it's this dark wood, which I think goes lovely with sort of a white backdrop. And yeah, so all of the things we'll go through on top of sideboard first. So these are my Harman and Kardon speakers. Very inexpensive. They look expensive, but I think they're actually under £200, which I think for speakers of this quality is incredible. I think they're actually meant to be used for computer systems, but I actually just use it as my everyday speakers for music and stuff like that. You can connect your phone via Bluetooth, and yeah, they're great, and I think they look really lovely sitting on top of the sideboard. And then obviously I've got this mirror here which sort of aligns with the style of the sideboard, and I would actually prefer for it to be up on this wall like this, but I'm not necessarily going to be in this apartment forever, and obviously I don't own it, so I don't want to be putting loads of holes in the walls. But eventually this will be a similar setup somewhere when I do own my own place, and I will put it on the wall. And then obviously my trusty Henry Matisse print, and I think this frame was from Desenio, again quite cheap. Then we have just a simple IKEA lamp. I really love IKEA for stuff like this, and I actually don't really like using the main lights in my house very much. I always prefer to have lots of lamps dotted around, and I'll turn these on as it gets into the evening. So moving on to more of the trinkety bits. So the first one I bought was this from H&M Home, and I'll use it to keep my keys in so I don't lose it. So when I walk into the house, I'll just drop them in there. And then this is also from H&M Home, which is just a little vase. And these two here are from Arket. I think I bought this in a vlog actually. And I just place these little dainty flowers in there, and what is great is that these will dry out and they'll stay looking like this. The petals will darken slightly and yellow slightly, but they still look lovely. I'll show you later in the actual main living area, because I've done the same. But these are fresh. Yeah, and then speaking of trinkety, these two drawers are sort of filled with all the trinkety bits that I don't necessarily want out on the side, but again, obviously don't want to throw away. So I've got my matches to light my candles on an evening. I have things like this little Pilates book, which a good friend of mine bought me. I do a lot of my workouts at home, so stuff like this is really lovely to have. Yeah, what else can I go through? I always keep spare Glossier bags in there, and they're really good for when you travel to put skincare or makeup in, because they're actually like padded, which is nice. And then another thing I have in here are sort of old photos from different photo booths that I go to, quite a few. And this is from Bow actually, which is a restaurant in London, and they sell these, which I thought was really lovely, and I'm eventually, when I get around to it, going to get this frame. So I'll do this with, if it's meant to be a poster, I will just sort of iron this out and then put it in a frame, and I think that will look really cool. A really lovely bit of artwork. What else? Just sort of old photos which I haven't got round to framing, but this is me and my brother when we were younger. And just little notes that I like to keep. So yeah, this is sort of an overview. It looks quite messy, but it's just little bits and bobs. This seems quite random, but I love having this bright pink tape that for when stuff like this, when I haven't got around to framing something, I will pin these up with just the masking tape on the corners, and it's obviously not everybody's kind of style, and it sounds like a little bit makeshift, but that's the kind of look I like sometimes. And then moving on to sort of this big area of storage. This is really handy for when, like me, if you live in London and you're sort of stuck for space. This keeps so much stuff in, which again I don't want to throw away but don't necessarily want to have out on show. So I have my picnic blankets in there, I've got my old family camcorder, and this is actually full of family tapes from when we were younger, so I love looking back on those. Just little helpful things like bulbs and boring stuff like that. But I think that's it for this section. But actually this is so satisfying when you hear the doors close. That's it. So this is obviously the main living space where I spend most of my time. And it's actually spring at the moment, if you can't tell by the dress I'm wearing and the flowers on the coffee table. This is so lovely. They're like £1 for a whole bunch, and they look like a quite small bunch when you first buy them when the bulbs are shut, but they open up very, very quickly as soon as they're brought out into the sunlight, really. And yeah, they're just like £1, and they're in this, which again I've shown in a previous video, but these ball jars that you can get in America, they're like mason jars. I just love the colour of the blue. Then this is the sort of I don't even really know, it's a tray which I keep lots of little things in, and actually this was what I was referring to earlier. So these plants these little flowers I've had for over a year, and all that happens is that they just get like an antique-y look. So they're not quite as bright and white, but they still look great, and the flowers don't even drop, the petals don't drop, so that's great. And then this sofa is from IKEA. These cushion covers, the sort of yellowy ones, these are also from IKEA, but these two are from H&M Home. I do really love H&M Home for their home stuff, because it's very sort of it's a nice style, but also quite cheap. This is also from H&M Home. Yeah, so this sofa is actually from IKEA as well, like I said, and this is great because it's got good storage, which again is key if you live in London. So I just keep fresh sheets in there once they're all dry after washing them. And then one final thing in this area, so this is a poof from H&M, from Marrakesh, and what I did was, all you have to do is buy the cover. They take out the stuffing for you, because obviously when they're all set up on the stalls, they're all full. But yeah, so if you just take home the cover, it means that you can fit it into your luggage. And I just filled this, so you see it's got a zip at the bottom, and I just filled it with old clothes. So it's a good way of using clothes that you wouldn't necessarily want to keep, and yeah, so now it's full of that, and you just use it to keep your feet up. Ready?
Yep.
So this area of the house, I'm sure, has featured in lots of videos before, so I don't know if you've seen it or not, but these are my pride and joy, my plants. I do have a rubber one over there, but I've featured that in a previous video, so if you want to see that one, go over and watch my plant video. But yeah, these just line the big windows here, which obviously hold this amazing view, which is another big reason that I love living here. And then this is actually known as an outside garden. So it's basically kind of like a it's quite loud because I've got the window open. But these windows actually open the whole way, which is really great for in summer because it does get hot up here. So I will close them just whilst I'm talking, it's quite loud out there. But yeah, I love this space because it's so bright. which is obviously really handy for when you've got flowers. So again, these are just from, I think, supermarket, but they're really cheap, lovely tulips. This table my flatmate's mum got custom made to make sure it could fit through the narrow doorways, but it is really lovely to have such a long table that all of my friends can sit at when they come over for dinner. It's one, like I said, it's one of my favourite spaces, and actually I think it's a really real luxury to have a space like this living in London. So finally, for this area, this is a G-plan chest of drawers. Again, this was an eBay find of my dad's, but I use this to store extra bits of clothes. So I've got my t-shirts in there. I just love that the drawers are really smooth. And one thing I would say is that with pieces like this that are a little bit on the older side, they can smell a bit musty. So what I do is I put in line the drawers with scented paper, and it seems to do the trick. Just keeps my clothes quite fresh. And then sitting on top of this, I keep any extra bits of makeup that I'm not always using on a day-to-day basis in this little basket from H&M Home. Again, really cheap. It's just an easy way to store stuff. And then this is sort of the makeup I use on a more day-to-day basis. I kind of need to get a more permanent makeup bag, but for now I'm just using a glossier pouch thing. And that's it for this area, apart from these cute little lights, which were from IKEA again, little tea lights, and they're really nice to put on in the evening when it's a bit darker, when I've got my friends over for dinner. So this is obviously the kitchen, and I do quite like to keep it as clear as possible, but I do also like to have stuff that I will use on a more regular basis out on the side, so it's easy for me to grab. So I do make a lot of spaghetti, so I've just got a jar full of spaghetti. I have little, these are actually meant for Chinese tea, but I use them to have loose salt and pepper in. And then these are Joseph and Joseph, they didn't really know what to call them, but I guess I use them for balsamic vinegar and olive oil. So these were from TK Maxx, I think. I think this is my mum's find. And then I make smoothies quite often, so I've got my bananas for my smoothies and sort of a different version of a NutriBullet. And yeah, they're really great for making like blueberry smoothies. And this is one of my favourite cookbooks. This is again a gift from my dad, and it's really great for recipes, especially if you're vegetarian. Got some really great stuff in there. So what I'll do is if I'm using a cookbook quite often, I'll keep it here. I do have more than this, but I'll just rotate it out depending on the kind of stuff I'm cooking at that time. This is kind of random, but these are really cool tea towels I got. It's kind of a stupid, because this probably, I shouldn't have spent so much money on tea towels, but there was like a set. In fact, I'll get a nice little clean one. But they're really cute colours. I think these were from, they're from Anthropology, something like that. But yeah, and they've got cute little pom-poms on, and yeah, just really cute. And then these again have been featured in a previous video, but they're from IKEA, and they're a really good way to make some extra space and storage, and also just make the space look a bit more interesting, because there was obviously just a bare wall before. But Al helped me put these up, so I think they were really cheap. They're just sort of bars that you drill into the wall, and then you get these little hanging hooks separately. Yeah, and I just use it for random bits that I use quite often, so I can just pull it off the wall. It's really handy. This area isn't of particular interest, other than two shout outs. So this is a Mrs. Meyer's hand soap, which smells incredible. I think this is more of an American brand, but I feel like you could probably get them on Amazon or something. And then this is the Method Wild Rhubarb. It's an antibacterial surface spray, which again is kind of boring, but it smells incredible. So I would highly recommend that. And then yeah, just like little things I keep my tea bags in, but that's kind of it for this area. And then finally, this is part of my corridor, so I use this as sort of like a notice board to pin stuff that I don't want to lose, or invitations to things, but also want to make it a bit more personal by putting some some photos up there. I said flowers because I've got this lovely little postcard from my friend Kate. It's a little note from her, which is really sweet, and I like to keep stuff like that there for me to look at and keep me happy on a daily basis. And I also have, as you can see, I use the pink tape. I think I can't remember if I covered that as part of what was in my drawers, but I use them to pin up things that I don't have a frame for yet. But this is a menu from the Oyster Bar in Grand Central Station in New York, and I keep stuff like this when it has a date on it, and when it's sort of been a day that's been special to me. So this was a day that me and my dad were in New York together, and so that was in 2013, and now I'll always remember the date and the fact that we went there, which is really nice. And again, just got some old family photos here, and family photos and stuff from my disposable camera, which again I think is really nice to have actual physical photos. We don't necessarily have those much these days because of Instagram, but and then yeah, just like a little bowl again, like on my sideboard, to keep little trinkets in that I don't want to lose. This is a gift from my best friends for my birthday. And then I've got a couple of drawers I got from Muji, which again I feel like most people will know about already, but I just keep little lipsticks and stuff, so as I'm on my way out the door I can pick one of those if I fancy. And then this whole chest of, well, not chest of drawers, but just sort of storage system was again from IKEA. We just added these doors and these drawers, so I just keep extra bits for my NutriBullet in there, that kind of stuff. Oh. So these have just got like cookbooks in and things like that. But I think that's everything. I'll do a little outro in a second. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it was of some use. I tend to talk a little bit too quick when I'm doing stuff like this because I get a bit nervous still. But yeah, I hope it was useful. If you have any questions around anything that I showed, just let me know in the comments. And yeah, like, subscribe if you like this kind of video and want to see more. But I hope I covered everything, and yeah, I'll see you next week.